justify his actions. Many may do it eloquently and render some kind of reason, but we must realize that in this race, many are called, but few are chosen. I stayed because I am a part of that chosen few. It was never an option for me. Plain and simple.
What do you think happened to your colleagues, though? And it's not, I want to talk about that last grouping, because from time to time you have individuals like an Andre Rollins or a Renwood Wells who, and I call it star power. They gain some star power out there with the public, and they may be attracted to a larger organization for whatever reason, and decide to leave. But you have 9 others that decided to go as well. What happened to your colleagues?
I honestly cannot tell you. I do not know what processes went on in their minds that led them to this decision. I really do not know. I can tell you this, that when I heard what was about to take place, I said to my colleagues, why is it that neither the PLP nor the FNM has approached me with a view to asking me to defect? Why? Why haven't they? And I know why.
Why? Tell me why. Tell the public why. I'd love to know. Why weren't you approached?
Because they do their due diligence prior to this kind of thing. They do their investigations. And I am certain that the reports that they would have gotten was that it is impossible to get him to leave. It is absolutely impossible. I stand on my principles. I stand on my integrity. I will not leave this party as long as this country remains in the grip of the PLP and the FNM. I will remain here.
Were you approached?
No,
Why not?
Why not? Jerome, it's the reality is that there are some men that just will not be bought nor sold. I am one of those. There are some men who, regardless of whatever come with me, who will be in the trenches, who are determined to see change, who are determined to enact change and to be a part of that change. And there's no carrot that you can dangle in front of me that's going to make me give up on the future of this country, on the unborn generation. We cannot continue to go in the direction that we are. Jerome, if you look at the national average in education, an F. And then the major political parties are going to come and say to me, come and join me and be a part of this failing grade? God forbid. No. The question then remains, can we do better? Are we prepared to do better? An F grade, totally unacceptable. So for those men who would want to go and be a part of that, I say, may your God be with you. But that's not good enough for me.
A lot of the rationale and reasoning is that, as they see it, it's better to try and affect change from within these organizations. And all of the men who I've spoken with, I want to throw out there 3 in particular: Cassius Stewart, who has joined the FNM, Dr. Andre Rollins, and Renwood Wells, who have come from your organization, who joined the PLP, have said to me, we want to try and change from within and not from without.
Insanity.
It won't work?
After all these years, insanity. Can the leopard change its spots after all these years? Insanity. Doing the same thing over expecting a different result. The thing is, the system needs to be revamped. When you have something that's decayed and corrupted from within, my God, that's all I can say. Good luck with that. I consider that as a man who, for whatever reason, decides we have the Titanic sinking, and he must get on board that ship, while everybody else is of the mindset that, hey, I need to get off. That's what that is to me. That is what has been expressed to me, this action, this jumping ship, by many of my colleagues. The Bahamas feels that way. They had given us so much of their trust, and to turn around and to jump ship, you're going to join with the people have been fighting, what are now fighting against. That is, in the lightest sense, betrayal. I don't care how you may fancy, make it pretty, or how eloquent you are. You have betrayed the trust that many had placed in you. Plain and simple, Jerome.
You think it's seen by the wider community as a betrayal?
I think some people see it as that. I think a lot of persons that I've spoken to, they see it as that. Some persons see it as an abandonment of their principles. Some people see it as them possessing a lack of integrity. I just simply say I wish them well in their future endeavors.
I want us to listen into what Mr. Renwood Wells said to me when I asked him that question about staying, his decision to leave. I want us to listen in. We're going to play a clip from when he was a guest on the show last week or so. Let's listen in now.
Some of our goals and objectives for the general elections, in my estimation, was not going to be realized. There was a need on our part and a desire on our part to see to it that all of the third parties came together. Because we honestly believed that resident within the two political parties was not the will to bring about the kind of substantive changes on the part for the Bahamian people. Having gone through that process, having attempted to bring third parties together to form that, and having spoken with both of the political parties, their leadership, what became clear to me was that for Renwood Wells and those who were minded in the NDP, we needed to take a different direction. I thought that what was needed in this nation is a transitional period to a new kind of economy, a new kind of social model, new leadership. And as a result of that, I found in discussions with Perry Gladstone Christie that he is that kind of transitional figure. And so the decision was made by me to join the to join the PLP.
In listening to Mr. Wells, he speaks of a transitional period. Is that what is needed, or do we need outright change now?
Well, absolutely, we need change absolutely right now in this country.
But is that realistic, though?
I think it is. I think it is, and I'll tell you why I say that. I have been campaigning for this party for a number of months now, and the people on the ground out there are telling me in droves, better than 50%, that they are ready for change. Okay? I'll tell you something else. A public opinion poll was done by a marketing company recently. It was in the newspapers on the 15th of last month. And they indicated the results. They polled 402 Bahamians. The PLP refused to touch this for good reason, and the FNM. They refused to mention it. They're running away from it. That poll indicated, a scientific poll, that right now, 47% of Bahamians are prepared to support a third party. Right now, this is without, as we speak. It also reveals that better than 50% of Bahamians are prepared to support a third party if it can present 41 credible candidates. Better than 50%. And that is why I believe change is possible now.
My only concern with that's 400 people. Mm-hmm. Is that a proper representation of the Bahamas and of the thinking of Bahamian people?
Well, it was done using scientific methods. But I also said, I am on the ground every day in this campaign. Mm-hmm. And Bahamians, breathing, living Bahamians of voting age are telling me, better than 50% of them, that they're ready for change.
Gentlemen, we're going to take another break in our show. We've got one more segment to go, and I know you've got a lot more to talk about, so hold your thoughts. We are back on the Sawyer Report right after this. Welcome back. We are speaking with Roosevelt Forbes and Kendall Smith of the National Development Party. Gentlemen, as we went into the break, our discussion began to look or turn towards a part of your party's platform. You have been advocating change and change now. And one of the questions I put out there was whether this was practical, particularly in this environment, in an environment that is traditionally a two-party system where people are either loyal to one party or the other, where third parties and alternate political groupings have really been around for as long as the political system has been around, but have really not been able to get a firm footing in Parliament. I mean, we've seen many figures start in these movements and move to the mainstream parties. But how realistic really at this point is your fight?
Well, Jerome, we're faced with a very unusual set of circumstances that this country has never seen before. People are equally tired of both of the established political institutions. And how realistic is this fight? And I say that bearing in mind that many may think that you still have a lot of blind card-carrying members of some party just saying, oh, because my grandpappy was such and such, then I'm... No, but people, the level of intelligence, even though the grades are not showing in the school system, the level of intelligence, information is out there. People are going to be looking this election at each candidate. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be the integrity of the individual. And there are many who may say, well, let's, boy, oh boy, the only thing left to do is to either join A or B. No, that's not the way it's going to be. Because if you just join A or B, then I ask you this, then can a man get blood out of stone? Can a man take fire in his own bosom and not be burned? That's what they're actually trying to do. These parties have a track record of failure. Change will come. The only thing that's constant in the universe is change. And either you're going to be a part of that, or that's going to move right on over you. Oh yes, right now is the time for change, Joe.
You mentioned that these parties have a track record, and realistically they have a track record in government as well. And a big fear is, why should I turn over the day-to-day running of my country and my affairs to a group of well-intentioned men or women, but who have no experience in government and who have no experience in running the country?
Well, let's look at it. Yes, we have no experience in government because we have never been in government before. But let's look at the experience of those who have been in government and those who are in government. We have a crime problem that is out of control. We have a situation where the most serious crime, that of murder, in my opinion, is not being punished according to the Constitution. You have a situation where between the PLP and the FNM, they have not managed to execute one person in 11 years, okay? You have a serious unemployment problem. The solution, as far as I can see, as articulated by the PLP and the FNM, is to rely on foreigners to invest in building hotels and employing Bahamians. That's their only solution. Other than that, they have no idea, it seems to me, as to how to expand the economy and diversify it. You have an illegal immigration problem that is a threat almost to our national identity. When I was 10 years old, every once in a while, the government would round up some illegals and send them back home. Well, back then it was estimated that we had between 7,000 to 10,000 illegals in the country. I'm now almost 50 years old, and the government every now and again still is rounding up some illegals and sending them back home. The difference is now that they're estimated to be between 85 and 130,000 illegals in the country. Albert Einstein said, insanity is doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting different results. It's not working, but that's what they're continuing to do. As my colleague Kendall said, the average grade in the average school leaving grade in the government school system is F. Okay, it's actually F. They don't say that, but it's F. It's the involvement of the private schools that brings it up to a D or a D minus. Okay, you have a catastrophic situation in the healthcare system. If you go to PMH now, accident and emergency, it's estimated the average waiting time is 15 hours.